What's up guys, it's Meg. Welcome back to Meg After Dark. Today we are talking about the latest issue of The Walking Dead comics, issue number 162, part 6, the final chapter of the Whisperer War. I'm so excited to talk about this today. But first, I'm sorry it's been so long. Last video I talked about how my job was just wearing me down and it was awful. I have talked to my manager. I'm going down to part-time, just 3 days a week instead of a full 5. Still graveyard shifts, but it's gonna be a lot better. It's not happening for a couple weeks probably. They have to hire someone and train someone, but it should be a little bit easier once that happens to film more videos. And I've just been really overwhelmed lately, and working graveyard sucks, as some of you have also agreed with me when I've talked about it before, but it just makes me feel sick like all the time, and I wake up and I miss all these things with my daughter, and it's just really been shitty lately, to be really honest with you. And so I have these videos that I want to make for The Walking Dead, but I just can't bring myself to do it, you know. When I finally I sleep all day. When I finally wake up, I really just want to hang out with my kid, you know, because I don't see her all day. So it's been hard to film videos, but I am still here. I still want to make videos for you guys. So once this job stuff gets situated better, I will be putting out more videos. Really just itching to do a predictions video for season 7B. They just released a picture for TV Line of Maggie and the group talking to Gregory. It's not a clip, it's just a promo image, but I am so friggin' excited for the second half of season 7, you guys. It's going to be epic. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so good and I cannot wait. And really, I feel like February is gonna come soon, you know. It's not, we don't have that much longer to wait, and I'm so happy for that. Sorry if the camera shakes. I'm in this I'm in my room instead of out in the office area, so it's just kind of a weird setup, and the camera's super precarious right now, so if you guys fall over, I'm sorry. But let's get right into the Whisperer War part 6. I will say that this was a really calm issue for the last part of the Whisperer War. Honestly, I was expecting, you know, all of the Whisperer War has been good, but it's been kind of anticlimactic for the most part. We had, you know, the big deal of the hilltop getting destroyed, but everyone survived, you know. Nothing, I think everyone survived, right? God, my brain is all over the place. You know, obviously it's horrible that we lost the hilltop, but Maggie, as in this issue that we read, Maggie is very certain that once everything gets settled, they plan to rebuild, and she's very confident about this. So really, the Whisperer War, you know, there hasn't been a ton of craziness going on that you would anticipate when we had All Out War. You know, that's the kind of issues that we're used to. So when you hear Whisperer War 6 parts, we're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be All Out War again, you know. But it really wasn't. It's very different, and I like that. But then at the same time, I was a little bit working up to issue 162 here, part 6, I was like, okay, well, something's gotta happen, right? So I really liked how issue 162 starts out. We literally start out with Negan, and really we have only seen this kind of emotion, real, honest, emotion, sadness, you know, really where he looks like the most vulnerable. We've only seen that when Lucille, the baseball bat, not his wife. I have not read the pre-Negan story yet, so, but I know that Lucille kind of represents his wife and that kind of thing. And so I don't know what kind of emotion he shows in those issues, but really when Lucille the bat was destroyed, that was kind of the most raw kind of emotion that I think we've really seen from Negan. And then to see him here actually burying the bat and making a cross and kind of talking to Lucille as in his actual wife, you really can relate to Negan here for a moment. And you know, it's tough because he's always been this villain, and then, you know, over the last how many issues, we've kind of started to almost relate to him more. You really, I mean, a lot of us liked Negan before he was captured and everything, but you really, now that he is kind of out and about and interacting, you really kind of start to like him, and so you can really relate to him when he is burying her. And it's just really sad. It's like an actual sad moment, and I really appreciated seeing like that honesty of his feelings in the first couple pages here. And then we see, okay, so then we're moving on. We see the guys from the kingdom come down, and they see that the hilltop is destroyed, completely destroyed. And I think I love this image here where you really see like just how devastating the fire is. I mean, there's so much smoke. Can you just imagine, like, for a second riding up to the hilltop and seeing that and wondering, like, is anyone even still alive? I love putting myself in the shoes of like the characters here. Like, what would you do if you're like riding up on the hilltop and you see that, like that emotion that you would feel thinking that everyone's dead? And we have the happy moment where we realize that everyone's fine. Maggie gives her a little moving, well, it's not really a speech, but basically, you know, we're gonna make it better than it ever was. We're going to Alexandria. Little do they know that Alexandria is going to be hit far worse than the hilltop was. I really enjoyed the moments between Carla and Lydia here. I have to say that I have, you know, I say it all the time, I've never liked Carl, but really these last, like, what he did in the last issue where he went back in, you know, to try and save people and help people in the burning building, I really started to like him in that issue a lot, because it didn't feel like he was being selfish. You know, a lot of the moves that Carl has made in the comics up to this point have been, there have been a lot of like selfish reasons for it, and he's a teenager and it's totally understandable, but it just always found myself being like, dude, you're putting the group in danger for your teenage emotions, you know? But I really felt like in the last issue, when he's going in and he's risking his life and he almost dies to save people, like, I really liked him in that moment. And then seeing him talk to Lydia here, and she's really down, and Lydia, this is the first time she's ever really gotten to see what it's like to be on the other side of what the Whisperers do. And she feels awful about it, you know, and it just kind of furthers her belief that she's in the right place now, that what she was doing with the Whisperers was wrong, and she knows that, but it really kind of reaffirms that for her, and you just see her and she just looks devastated here at what she had done in the past. And I love that moment when, you know, she's thinking that she's done all of these horrible things, but really everyone who is still alive in this world right now has done bad things, horrible things to survive and to keep going on and to keep living. And I love that moment when Carl kind of opens up to her and says, what exactly does he say here? He says, I could say the exact same thing to you. You don't know what we did to get to this place, the things I did along the way to survive so our people could survive. But we did them, the horrible things, to get here, to get to this life with these people where we don't have to do things like that anymore. And it's so true. Like, literally every person that is still alive in the current comics here has done something bad, something that they wouldn't have done if the world was still normal, to get, you know, to be able to survive, to protect the people that they love. And I really like that moment between them where they hug at the end, and I don't want to like them. Why do I like them? You know, we knew at this point in the comics, it's kind of like everything's like, oh, it's over. And then you see Beta going, no, we can't wait any longer. This has to be done now. And you're like, it's funny how you forget just how many walkers, excuse me, oh, man. It's funny how you forget just how many walkers were there in the initial herd that Beta showed, I mean, not Beta, that Alpha showed Rick, right? Like, I remember that scene where the comics ended and you look and you see this like never-ending sea of walkers. And I don't know why, but when the first wave came and then that Dwight's group caught, and then the second wave of walkers that hit the hit the hilltop, they don't even know about, you know, I guess it was 2 waves that hit Dwight and 1 wave that hit the hilltop, and you don't really think about that there is more, right? And you kind of know, like, Beta, you know, this whole time in the last issue and this issue, you kind of know that Beta has something else in mind. And so I have been assuming this whole time that he was going to bring walkers to Alexandria. But you don't really realize just how many are still out there until Rick has that moment where he's talking to Dwight and he's like, you don't understand, it was like thousands, you wouldn't have been able to handle them. And then you flip the page and you see, like, holy shit, you guys. There's not gonna be anything left. Just the amount, did you guys remember on Herschel's farm in season 2 when they said, like, just the amount of walkers that was there, which is nothing compared to this, would have torn his house down, like, and they pretty much did. This kind of thing, just these guys walking towards Alexandria, like, they don't even have to eat anyone. They don't have to do anything. They just walking, that amount of walkers is just going to take down, like, every building, right? I mean, and there's nothing that they can do about it. It's just insane. And this picture is so amazing. And then you kind of see how close they are here, and there's just, I love this image as well. I don't know if that's focused for you at all, but you know what page it is. It's just unbelievable. I want to backtrack just for a second because we have Eugene come and he has made so much ammunition, and there was a moment there where he passes out, you guys, and I legit thought that he had, like, been shot or something. I had a moment where I was like, Eugene, no. And I legit thought that he was dead for a second. I really, really did. But okay, but that's fine. That's besides the point. Dwight then comes and everything is happy and everybody's like, good job. And then of course, Rick has the realization that, you know, Dwight, you did not get all of those walkers. And they don't even know at this point that the hilltop is destroyed. So we have this, what it comes down to. And I love the last page where Beta says our war is over, because here, you know, when we're getting to part 6 of the Whisper War, we're thinking it's all gonna be done by the end of issue 6, right? That's totally what my mindset was that everything was gonna be done and, you know, something would be destroyed, like, what, you know, people would die and it would be bad, but it would be done. And I did not expect it to kind of end like that, where it's like Beta's like, our war is over, but pretty much the war for Alexandria versus this giant herd of walkers is just beginning, and little does Rick know. And I have a feeling, kind of predictions for 163 and moving forward, I don't know how much they'll put in 163, but I think moving forward, we're going to see, you know, Rick's panicking right now. He's probably going to send people out to try and get a view on what's happening out there. Like, he knows that more walkers are coming. He knows this isn't the end of it. So he's probably gonna send people out to scout it out and see. They're gonna see a massive herd, and there's really probably gonna be nothing that they can do about it. I have a feeling that the herd is going to be far too close to Alexandria by the time Rick realizes, for them to really, you know, break off any of the group. Also, we're gonna see Maggie making, and all of the hilltop, we're gonna see them trying to make their way down to Alexandria, only to find out that Alexandria is completely overrun. I have a feeling that all of the deaths that we missed, you know, when we thought people were gonna die at the hilltop, or we thought people were gonna die in part 6 here, all of those deaths are going to happen in whatever issue it is, whether it's the next issue or the issue after that, when Alexandria gets overrun with this herd. Now, I'm really thinking that there are going to be some big deaths here. I am not completely current on which comic covers have come out. I know there was a comic cover that recently was released, and I don't know what issue these are for, but we saw the one where Maggie and Herschel and Carl are looking down on Alexandria overrun, but there was also a comic cover that came out with Rick and, you know, his claw hand reaching up amongst all of the dead walker arms. And it makes you wonder, a lot of people have been wondering, is this finally gonna be the end for Rick? And I sure as hell hope not, because that would be fucking awful, right? But, you know, I mean, our badass hero here, you can't last forever in this world, and it makes you really wonder, is he gonna go? I kind of think that he's probably not. He's probably safe at this point, but you have to wonder. But I mean, some big deaths. We keep thinking Andrea, you know, God, I'm really thinking that some big deaths are gonna happen here soon. And it makes you wonder if, you know, Alexandria is destroyed, the Hilltop's destroyed. Are they gonna try and make their way to the kingdom? We also know that Sherry, there's a comic cover with Sherry, and she is just waiting to make her move as well. And she has, you know, she has the Saviors here, and she has said, we're not gonna be involved in this Whisper War here. I don't know if she's calling it that, but we're not gonna be involved here, but we will definitely be there to pick up the pieces. And she's looking for power. And I have a feeling that, you know, they're gonna come and see this devastation for those who have survived, and they're gonna say, hey, you can come back with us, live with us, but there's gonna be prices to pay and you're not in charge anymore. And it'll be really interesting. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Sherry comes in and wants to pick off the remaining survivors, the remaining leaders. Will she wanna try and kill off Rick? Will she wanna try and, you know, I mean, Rick, the man who imprisoned Negan for so long, you know? And what will Negan do? What part will he play in this? Will he be able to reason with the Saviors, or will he see this as an opportunity to take back charge of his former group? I mean, there are so many questions here. And I feel like I probably should have read this and made more notes to make more like thorough predictions here, but I was just so excited to talk to you about this that I wanted to make this video. My battery is dying, so it probably won't be able to talk much more about this, but I would love to hear what your predictions are in the comments of this video. For the upcoming issues, it doesn't have to be just issue 163, but moving forward into future issues, where do you think this is going? We still have this mystery person on the radio with Eugene that we don't really know much about. So how is that going to come into play? Okay guys, I'm sorry, my battery died. I don't even know what I was saying before. Sometimes I feel like I am so much better at like talking about the television show than I am about the comic. I feel like I know more about the television show. I remember more things, and sometimes with the comics, I think it's because they are so far between each one. We only have one like once a month, that I have a hard time reviewing and talking about it. So I apologize if this review is kind of all over the place, or if I'm just blabbing on, not making any sense. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We do not only comic reviews, but reviews for the television show, predictions, reactions, and also for Fear the Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. If it ever comes back, it's gonna be a really long time, it feels like. I would love it if you shared this video if you enjoyed it as well. I also have a Twitter account and a Facebook page for this channel, so if you have not looked up those, feel free to do so. The links are in the description. And if you have any questions for a new Q&A, feel free to leave those as well. I will see you guys next time. I hope you have a wonderful day and a very happy new year. I haven't really had a chance to say any of that to you, so I hope you guys had a great Christmas and New Year's, and that 2017 is treating you well so far. I will see you guys next time. Bye.